Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Pop Smoke album, Faith. Pop Smoke, the late New York rapper who you've undoubtedly heard by now. We have another posthumous record of his material here, quickly following up the album Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon that dropped last year, which was one of the biggest hip-hop projects of 2020 and certainly one of the biggest posthumous hip-hop albums of all time in terms of reception and sales. Pop Smoke is just one of those contemporary artists who we lost tragically early into his career, and unfortunately I just don't think we were able to see the full potential of his artistry as a result of that. And I don't think I'm alone in this feeling that we've had a lot of just awful deaths in the rap world as of late, and that's led to a lot of posthumous projects which range pretty strongly in terms of quality. For sure there have been some good ones and some highlights. I think the recent Juice WRLD kind of comes to mind, and in my opinion even Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon was a few cuts above the average. Then there have been some others. The XXXTentacion one, Bad Vibes Forever, kind of comes to mind, where there's just so little like material from the artist the project is named after, and the features really dominate the entire track list so that it can be spread out to the point where it is an album, and the tracks and moments that seem to center around the artist are so bare and so brief. And unfortunately, while I don't think Faith is quite that bad, it's trending more in that direction. Now, I went into this project with pretty high hopes, even with seeing the super dense feature list here, because frankly the features that are on this record, like, a lot of rappers would do some crazy shit to get the features list that this project has underneath them. This is a really star-studded features list over here, from Kanye to Pusha, Future, Dua Lipa, Rick Ross. Like, there is a very impressive line of rappers, singers, producers on this thing that I imagine put their all into making this project come together. But still, even with all of that effort, even with all of that involvement, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon is still such a superior project by comparison. The songs on there and Pop Smoke's writing, performances, his hooks, they feel more complete, they feel more purposeful, they feel like they're more in line with what we knew him to be so great at doing, his style, his sound, his trademark, rap flows over those drill beats. Maybe it's not the best he would have ever done if he had a few more years to continue doing it, but it was certainly the best we were going to get with what we were left with. But Faith feels like such a severe drop in quality, especially toward the end. Now, it does have a good first leg to it, in my opinion. We get some fantastic words from Pop Smoke's mother. We get some dramatic instrumentation that really kind of sets the tone for a record that is going to celebrate Pop Smoke's memory and keep his memory alive. The track Tell the Vision with Kanye West and Pusha T is pretty hard. It's heavy. Pusha T has a great verse. I wish Kanye did more vocally. I know he has a production credit on the song along with a few other people, but I guess I just wish we had a full-length rap verse from him. Pop Smoke lyrically is not necessarily at his best or anything. I think his performance here is average, and again, I don't think that's a reflection of his talents necessarily. I think that's a reflection of like what we were left with. Manslaughter with Rick Ross and The Dream, in my opinion, is so much better. This is a fantastic, luxurious pop rap track where Rick Ross, it totally fits his tone. Pop Smoke is singing over the instrumental in almost like a 50 Cent style, which he was embracing that influence quite a bit on his last posthumous record, and it's kind of cool to see him dive a little further into that sound on this particular track. Plus, The Dream's vocal passages on the back end of the song totally kills it. It's gorgeous. Bout a Million with 42 Dugg and 21 Savage is a pretty refreshing cut on the project as well, because it's just interesting to hear these acoustic guitars woven into what is essentially like this beat with drill style bass. It hits hard like a drill track, but there's something kind of sentimental about it as well. And of course, like, it would be Pop Smoke, even if it is posthumously, to sound good over such a beat. Then Brush 'Em with Raw Swish is, I think, the first, like, hard pure, unadulterated drill track on the record. Sounds like something off of the first Meet the Woo, honestly. I wish it had a stronger chorus, you know, more of a structure, but you can't deny that there is like definitely lyrical and vocal chemistry between these two on the track. Then it's after this point where I think the project really begins to go downhill, unfortunately. We start getting tracks that are supremely short, kind of like bridges to nowhere. Seems like producers tried to do the best they could with what vocals they had left over from Pop Smoke to extend these cuts out. Coop kind of comes to mind. Beat the Speaker comes to mind. We have 30 featuring Busy Banks, which Busy is really taking up a lot of this track to extend it out so that it's the length of a regular song. I mean, Pop Smoke seems almost like an afterthought on it. Then as we near the back end of this thing, we start getting a lot of songs that are just clearly not Pop Smoke's best, not great performances, and also just like really unlikely instrumentals and stylistic directions. The stuff that up until the point where he passed away, he might have been experimenting with these things, but that doesn't mean that they were going over well. I mean, maybe it's stuff that would have gotten hammered out further in the studio at some point, or stuff that, you know, he would have had another pass on with another track, or stuff that really just would have stayed in the vault forever. Hearing Pop Smoke try to sing in a somewhat, I guess, hooky and sensitive manner over this 80s style pop beat on Demeanor with Dua Lipa on the back end, it does not sound great. And as excited as I was to hear a pop crossover with Kid Cudi, hearing him on this kind of experimental acoustic-ish type instrumental is not great either. That also just seems like a really awkward fit. I don't even really think he sounds that at home over these like Pharrell and Neptune's beats on here too. And for sure, vocally and lyrically, neither Pop or Future have a really strong showing on Mr. Jones. So yeah, as we get into the back end of this thing, shit gets real rough on this project. But I will say, you know, with a lot of people I've read kind of, you know, referencing and bringing up Bad Vibes Forever in the context of this album, I will say it does seem like, you know, Pop Smoke was genuinely engaged in it, as opposed to producers after the fact putting him into some kind of weird, inappropriate context that just didn't really make sense. Now, I guess if you are a hardcore fan or a fan in any way, shape, or form, enter into this project knowing this is a lot rougher than Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. So as you kind of dig deeper into the back end of this project, know that you're going to hear like some weird stuff that doesn't go over too well. I think there's a lot of stuff here that's pretty clear that Pop Smoke would have done something to it or just not have put it out had he still been around. And I think that's true just by virtue of the fact that the quality level on some of these tracks isn't even up to snuff to, again, the last posthumous LP. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not too crazy about this one, and I'm feeling a strong 3 to a light 4 over here. Transition, have you given this project a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Pop Smoke, forever.